The rain fell hard that morning, soaking the streets and washing secrets into the gutters, when an old garbage-collecting woman bent under the weight of her cart outside a grand house that glittered like a palace. No one noticed her trembling hands or the quiet dignity in the way she straightened her torn scarf. No one knew that behind the wrinkles, the hunched back, and the smell of waste stood a man who owned half the city, and no one could imagine that this single morning would decide the fate of a family built on wealth but starving for humanity. Before the story unfolds further, if you believe that kindness still matters in a world obsessed with status, take a moment to like this video, share it with someone who believes in second chances, leave a thoughtful comment, and subscribe to the channel for more stories that remind us what truly makes us rich. The man beneath the disguise had not always doubted people. Once he believed money could protect love, loyalty, and values. His name carried power in boardrooms and fear in business rivals. Yet his heart grew uneasy after his only son married a woman who seemed perfect on paper. Educated, graceful, and well-mannered in public, she fit seamlessly into the luxurious mansion, but something about her eyes felt hollow to him. The staff whispered about her coldness. The neighbors admired her elegance. The millionaire felt a silent question growing heavier each day, wondering whether his son had married a partner or merely a reflection of ambition. Age and illness had softened him in ways money never could. Confined often to long nights of reflection, he thought about the legacy he would leave behind. Not the buildings, not the bank accounts, but the values that would survive after his name faded. He decided he needed truth, not rumors or rehearsed smiles. And truth, he believed, revealed itself only when people thought no one important was watching. That was how the disguise was born, with the help of a trusted old friend. He transformed himself into an elderly garbage-collecting woman, complete with worn clothes, a crooked posture, and the invisibility society grants to those it deems insignificant. He practiced walking slowly, breathing heavily and lowering his gaze. For the first time in decades, he stepped into the world without privilege, without recognition, carrying only a cart and a purpose. The first test was simple. He arrived early in the morning to the mansion where his daughter-in-law lived in comfort, waiting near the gate as garbage collectors usually did. The guards ignored him, assuming he belonged to the background. When she finally appeared on the balcony above, dressed in expensive fabric and sipping her tea, the old woman raised her head slightly, hoping for acknowledgement. What came instead was annoyance. The garbage was thrown down hurriedly, splashing filth onto the old woman's shoes. No apology followed, only the sound of doors closing and a life resuming without pause. The millionaire felt something tighten in his chest, not anger, but sadness. Still, one moment was not enough to judge a heart. He returned again and again, each time encountering a new layer of indifference. Some days she complained about the smell. Other days she blamed the old woman for arriving too early or too late. Once, she laughed with friends while the garbage collector waited in the rain. Each moment etched itself into the old man's memory like a quiet wound. Yet the story did not remain one-sided. Life has a way of balancing cruelty with compassion. One afternoon, while pushing the heavy cart down a narrow street near the mansion, the old woman stumbled and fell. Garbage spilled across the road, and pain shot through his disguised body. People passed by without stopping. Cars honked impatiently. Then, from a small house nearby, a young neighbor rushed out. She was not wealthy, not polished, but her hands were steady and her eyes kind. She helped gather the waste offered, water, and insisted the old woman rest. That small kindness felt warmer than any luxury the millionaire had known. Days later, a storm flooded the area. The garbage collector struggled more than ever, and it was during this chaos that the son of the millionaire, unaware of his father's plan, noticed the old woman shivering near the gate. Unlike his wife, he felt uneasy ignoring her. He arranged for a chair, offered tea, and spoke with genuine concern. The old man, hidden behind his disguise, felt a mix of pride and sorrow. The son had inherited compassion, but had chosen a partner who had not. The true test came when illness struck. The millionaire arranged it carefully, allowing rumors to spread among staff that the garbage-collecting woman had collapsed near the mansion. When the daughter-in-law heard, her reaction was sharp and dismissive. She worried about bad luck, about inconvenience, about appearances. She forbade the staff from helping, afraid the presence of sickness might stain the elegance of her home. Meanwhile, the neighbor and a few servants quietly disobeyed, offering aid in secret. They brought medicine, blankets, and simple food. The old woman lay there, watching humanity unfold around her, seeing who stepped forward and who stepped away. In that fragile moment, the millionaire realized that character revealed itself not in grand gestures, but in the smallest decisions. When he finally recovered, the old man knew the test had reached its end. The next morning, the mansion buzzed with activity as the millionaire arrived, no longer bent or hidden, stepping out of a luxury car with familiar authority. Shock rippled through the house as recognition dawned. The daughter-in-law's face drained of color. The staff froze. The son felt confusion turning into understanding. The revelation did not come with shouting or humiliation. It came with silence heavier than any accusation. The millionaire spoke not of money or inheritance, but of dignity. He described the mornings in the rain, the moments of neglect, the laughter that cut deeper than insults. He described the neighbor's kindness, the servant's courage, and his son's quiet empathy. Each word was measured, calm, and devastating. The daughter-in-law tried to defend herself, speaking of misunderstandings and stress, but her excuses collapsed under the weight of truth. For the first time, she faced the reflection she had avoided. Wealth had not made her cruel, but it had allowed her cruelty to grow unnoticed. The millionaire did not banish her or threaten her future. Instead, he offered a choice: change or live with the consequences of remaining the same. What followed was not immediate redemption, but slow transformation. The daughter-in-law began volunteering anonymously, working among those she once ignored. At first, it was obligation. Over time, it became understanding. She learned how easily people were erased by society, how pain looked different when seen up close. The son stood by her, not as a shield, but as a mirror, reminding her daily of the values they needed to rebuild. The millionaire watched from a distance, no longer needing disguises. His health declined, but his heart felt lighter. He had not only tested a person, he had awakened a family. The neighbor who had helped the old woman was rewarded quietly, not with wealth alone, but with opportunity and respect. The servants who showed compassion were promoted and trusted. Kindness, once invisible, became the foundation of the household. Years later, when the millionaire passed away peacefully, the city mourned a tycoon, but those who truly knew the story mourned a man who understood that the measure of a life was not found in accounts or properties, but in how one treated the least visible among us. The daughter-in-law stood at his memorial not as a symbol of elegance, but as a changed woman, carrying forward the lesson he had paid for with humility and courage. If this story has touched your heart, if it reminded you that compassion can rewrite destinies, please take a moment now to like this video, share it with someone who needs hope, and subscribe to the channel so these stories can reach more hearts. Before the ending, we have one special request for you. Please comment below with the words "kindness matters" if you believe that how we treat others when no one is watching defines who we truly are. In the end, the millionaire's greatest investment was not the disguise but the truth it uncovered. And the greatest inheritance he left behind was not money, but a reminder that humanity is the only wealth that never loses its value.